Here we're going to do a Carrera marble or a white marble or grey marble. We start with a white background. We've used Matisse background white, but you could use a gesso. And on our palette we've added Faux Finish and Marbling Gel. And I've randomly just added some white on top of that. And I'm going to let it mix on the sponge. I don't want it to be evenly mixed. In fact, I want it to be quite random. And then cover your whole piece, sponging away so that the whole piece is wet pretty well. You'd have 90% of your project covered in wet paint. And then we're going to go on and mix some more marbling gel with the carbon black, or with really whichever black you fancy. And this is what we're going to put the veins in with. So running a feather through a little bit of the black and of course the marbling gel, because it keeps it all wet, we're going to run those veins down. Now, the background has to be wet because the next step is to blend parts of those veins, not all of them, but a lot of the vein back into the background. So that's why we put the white down before, and the white's still wet. You may come to areas where the white has dried, and so you might want to come back with your sponge, like I've done there, and just wet it up again a little bit. You can also use the sponge to sort of soften, to soften larger areas. So what I'm doing here is basically just adding colour, softening it or blending it back into the background. In some areas where you find something that looks nice, then you might want to leave it and not touch it, and other areas you might want to almost completely obliterate it. Now, just to add to this Carrera marble, I love adding Australian sienna. It's the most amazing colour. It's mass tone, a beautiful sienna colour. The undertone or the glaze that it brings out, a real golden colour. And this works fantastically with this sort of marble. It adds real depth, and you can add a little bit of black to it as well, which tends across into the green, and then run veins along that. So what we're after overall is trying to soften areas. In some areas we'll have some sharp lines that we've put in with the feather or whatever, but having areas where there's quite a contrast, quite a variation, and other areas will be softened right back in. And this is what will give us the real three-dimensional or trompe-l'oeil type effect, tricking the eye into thinking that it is actually marble. And of course the big thing that'll help with that is by adding a gloss varnish over the top. You'll want several coats, and that is really what will finish it off fantastically.